Russian civilians in Anadyr, one of the easternmost cities of Eurasia, survived the new war despite being in the immediate vicinity of Arcos R-14. Their proximity to the beast eventually caught up to them, however, as even in death the machine was lethally dangerous. The following was translated from a Russian mind. Some words could not be mapped directly and are instead written in the subject's native tongue. Aret Shah. Neuronal ID, Vasily Zaitsev.
"Something has got loose in the stacks,"
Leonid says to me. The war has been unkind to Leonid. The mathematician stands canted in the wind, thin and trembling like a crow-pecked scarecrow. His beard crawls up his pale face nearly to his eyes, dark brown orbs swimming with a fear that cannot be drowned in vodka. "Ha! Another rat," I say, waving my hand. Leonid shakes his head. Even under his wind-beaten parka, I can see the gray color of his cheeks. I sense that this is something much more.
"Not a rat,"
he says. "Automat?" I ask. On its own, my palm moves to check the polished wooden grip of my sidearm. "Is he hurt? Has there been any damage?"
"It is hard to say, Vasily,"
says Leonid, motioning at the metal door in front of us. He is shaking slightly from the wind, arms wrapped around his thin ribs. The wind burns my cheeks as well, but I would never show it. Never allow myself to shake in the elements like a strayed dog. Leonid's indecision repulses me. I must remind myself that not so long ago this man was an esteemed professor, a famous brain supported by spindly legs and a hump in his shoulders usually reserved for the elderly. But he has survived. Cheeks black with frostbite, he stood with me to defend the city of Anadyr. Many of his weaker colleagues fell. Too many foxes, not enough bears.
"I only say that our friend is behaving strangely," says Leonid. "Communications were disrupted. We lost contact for 21 minutes.
"When?" I ask.
"About a month ago, when the American line broke and the tamed Avtomat advanced. Right after the death of that thing."
I grunt and turn my back on Leonid. The steel utility door has not been damaged. Around the corner, an ice-caked generator still rattles on a dirty slab of concrete. The door opens into a harmless-looking shed. Inside, a well-oiled freight elevator hovers over a 60-meter drop, a shaft of brushed rock that leads to a buried supercomputer cluster. The processor stacks. Power and communication and water cooling lines are run down the elevator shaft, packed together in neat, snaking bundles. Backup lines are routed through a series of camouflaged boreholes spread out over the acreage of the compound. Each is too small to produce a heat signature detectable from the air. They're carefully hidden in the visible spectrum by natural vegetation and terrain. I know these things, these practical things, because it was once my job to perform maintenance on this place. Oiling the wheels of the freight elevator, tending the foliage around the borehole exits, checking their heat output with an IR laser thermometer, visual inspections of plumbing lines, emergency batteries, and fire suppression systems. I was a maintenance man. I maintained. As the glorified janitor for the Novichok project, I have kept this research facility running for 4 years. My finger is always on the pulse of this place, monitoring the inputs and the outputs. The end of the world came, and my job did not change. You see, our friend who lives down below is useless if we cannot talk to him. Yet, he must be kept very carefully. Our deep friend must be watched over always. And that is our weakness. The stacks were built to be safe from men, not from machines. Even a vent borehole could be large enough for the Avtomat. The crawling types, the ones that wriggle through flesh, they could have the potential to move through the wiring itself. Perhaps a patient one could make its own tunnel through solid rock. Some of them are very patient. If the Avtomat discovered our friend in his deep place, then we have failed. I cannot even contemplate the consequences of losing him. But I know it is better to fall into action than to run around in lost circles, head bobbing like these pigeon men with their advanced degrees. "Open the door," I say to Leonid. "We will go down together. See what we can find."
"Are you sure?"
he asks. I do not bother to respond. I just wait. Leonid reluctantly removes his glove and places his shivering hand in a cavity next to the door. A flash of red as the laser scanner examines his fingerprints, and, of course, it checks to make sure there is warm blood in his veins. We step inside and I close the metal door behind. The wind calls to us through the hidden cracks in this structure. A faint, pale light pushes geometrically through the edges of a single mesh window, painted black. The sliding steel door of the freight elevator is shut tight like an angry mouth.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.